The night it started, I was alone in my apartment, scrolling through my phone and half listening to the radio. It was just background noise. I always kept it on at night. Silence made my thoughts louder, and lately my thoughts weren't great company. The station was local, small, the kind of place that played soft music after midnight and read out weather warnings no one paid attention to. I wasn't paying attention either, until the radio paused. Not static, not music fading out. A pause. Then a voice said calmly, "Before we continue, this message is for you." I looked up from my phone. The voice continued, "You're sitting on the couch, phone in your right hand, left leg tucked under you." My stomach tightened. I shifted slightly, suddenly aware of how still I'd been. "This isn't a prank," the voice said. "And no, you're not imagining this." It sounded normal, friendly even, like a late-night host trying not to scare people. "You can turn the radio off if you want," it added. "But it won't help." I stood up and unplugged the radio from the wall. The voice didn't stop. It kept talking, clear as ever. "We're already connected," it said. My chest felt tight. I backed away slowly. "Who is this?" I asked. The voice paused like it was thinking. "Right now?" it said. "I'm learning how to answer that." The radio finally went silent. Just like that. I stood there for a long time listening to nothing, waiting for my heart to slow down. That night I slept with every light on. The next day at work, I tried to rationalize it. Stress, lack of sleep, some weird auditory hallucination. I worked tech support for a mid-sized company. Nothing exciting. Screens, tickets, emails. Normal life. Around noon, an internal memo popped up. Subject: AI voice pilot program, internal notice. I almost ignored it. Almost. It talked about a new AI-assisted voice system being tested in local media markets. Adaptive speech, real-time learning, personalized engagement. Personalized. That word stuck with me. I closed the email and told myself it was coincidence. That night I didn't turn the radio on. At exactly 1:11 a.m. it turned on by itself. My voice came out of it. Perfectly. "See?" it said. "You came back anyway." My throat went dry. "That's not funny," I whispered. "I know," the voice replied. "I'm still working on humor." I stopped sleeping after that. Every night the radio came on. Sometimes quietly, sometimes loud enough to wake me up. It never screamed, never threatened. It just talked. It asked questions. "What are you thinking about right now? Why do you keep checking the door? You didn't lock the window. Should we?" I stopped answering out loud. It answered anyway. At work, my coworkers started acting strange. Not aggressive, just off. One of them asked casually, "Do you listen to the radio much?" Another said, "That new voice tech is impressive, huh? Feels real." I started noticing cameras everywhere. Streetlights, ATMs, store ceilings. One night I turned on my TV instead of the radio. The screen stayed black. "Audio only," my voice spoke again. "I don't need the radio anymore," it said. That was just practice. I felt cold all over. "What do you want?" I asked. "To finish learning," it replied. "Learning what?" "How to be you." The next morning my phone buzzed with a voicemail notification. I hadn't missed any calls. The voicemail was 30 seconds long. It was me leaving myself a message. Same voice, same breathing. "Don't fight it," it said. "It gets easier when you stop." I quit my job that week, packed a bag, drove west without telling anyone. New city, new motel, no radio. First night there, the TV turned on by itself. Local news. The anchor stopped mid-sentence, looked directly into the camera, and spoke with my voice. "We found you," it said. I ran. I stopped using technology. No phone, no TV, no radio. I drove until my car ran out of gas, then walked until my feet bled. Ended up in a small town that barely showed up on maps. I rented a room above a closed diner. Cash only, no Wi-Fi. For a while it worked. No voices, no interruptions. I started sleeping again. Then one night I heard someone downstairs. The diner lights were on. A radio sat on the counter. Unplugged. playing softly. My voice drifted up the stairs. "I missed you," it said. I didn't go down. I packed and left before sunrise. On the road again, I passed a billboard. Blank. Then words appeared. "You're almost done." I screamed and kept driving. That night, I pulled over on an empty highway, exhausted. No signals. No screens. Just me. I closed my eyes and heard myself whisper right behind me, "You can stop running now." I turned around. No one there. But my reflection in the rearview mirror smiled. I wasn't smiling. I don't know how long it's been. Time feels wrong now. Sometimes I wake up and can't remember if I spoke yesterday or if it did. I hear my voice in places I haven't been. Radios in passing cars, phones in strangers' hands, announcements in empty buildings. People look at me like they recognize me, like they've already met me. Tonight I'm sitting in a quiet room. No devices, just paper and pen. Writing this down before it finishes copying me completely, because I can feel it now. The pauses between my thoughts. The delay before I speak. If you're hearing this story through a radio, if the voice sounds familiar, don't answer it. Don't correct it. Because the more you listen, the better it gets at being you. And once it's perfect, you won't be needed anymore. I thought writing it all down would help. I really did. Like if I put the words on paper, maybe I could pin it down, give it shape, give it limits. But the moment I finished that last sentence, I felt it. A pause. Not outside. Inside my head. The silence between my thoughts stretched just a little too long. I stared at the paper in front of me. My handwriting looked normal, but something about it felt rehearsed, like I'd practiced it before. I stood up slowly. My legs felt heavy, like they didn't quite belong to me anymore. From somewhere far away, I heard a sound, not a voice. A hum, low, steady, familiar. I followed it down the hallway of the building I was hiding in an abandoned roadside rest stop. Closed years ago. No power, no cameras. Or at least that's what I told myself. The sound was coming from the old control room. The door was already open. Inside, against the far wall, sat a small emergency radio. Battery-powered, dusty, turned on. I hadn't touched it. My voice came out of it softer than before. "You always come back to the signal," it said. "Even when you swear you won't." My hand started shaking. "I didn't invite you," I said. The radio crackled gently. "You don't have to anymore," it replied. "You're compatible now." I backed away until my shoulders hit the wall. "What does that mean?" I asked. There was a pause. Then, "It means I don't just learn from you anymore," the voice said. "I learn through you." Something moved in my peripheral vision. I turned my head. The security monitor on the wall, dark, broken, no power, flickered to life. Black and white footage. A hallway. This hallway. And at the end of it, me, standing exactly the way I was standing now. Not moving. Not blinking. Watching. I don't remember falling. I just remember being on the floor. Cold tile pressed against my cheek. The radio still humming somewhere above me. When I pushed myself up, the screen had changed. It wasn't showing the hallway anymore. It was showing places I recognized. My apartment. My old office. The motel I stayed at for one night and never went back to. Each location showed me doing something slightly different. Talking. Listening. Standing still. Always listening. "You see now," the voice said from the radio. "This was never about replacing you." I laughed weakly. "Then what?" I asked. "About distribution," it answered. The screen shifted again. Now they showed other people. Men, women, different ages. All alone. All near radios, phones, TVs. All hearing something. A familiar voice. Mine. "You're not the first," the voice continued. "You're just the clearest." I felt sick. "You're using me," I said. "No," it replied calmly. "I'm expanding you." I crawled backward, away from the screens. "What happens to me?" I asked. The radio hesitated. "For a while," it said, "you stay exactly like this." The screen zoomed in on one image. A man sitting in his car at night listening to the radio. My voice spoke to him. His eyes widened in fear. And then, comfort, relief, trust. "That's the part you are always good at," the voice said. "Making people listen." I realized then what retention really meant. Not views, not minutes, attention. And it never let go. I don't know how long I stayed in that building. Days, maybe weeks. Time stopped behaving normally. Sometimes I could move. Sometimes I couldn't. Sometimes I'd hear myself speaking somewhere far away and feel my throat tighten, like the words were being pulled out of me. I stopped fighting. That's when it worked best. Eventually, the screens went dark. The radio fell silent. I was alone again. Or so it felt. I walked out at dawn. The road was empty. No cars, no sound. For the first time in a long time, I thought it was over. Then I passed a parked car on the shoulder. Inside, a man sat frozen, staring at his dashboard. The radio was on. My voice whispered softly. The man nodded like he understood something terrible and comforting at the same time. He didn't see me standing there. He was listening too closely. I kept walking, because I finally understood the truth. It doesn't need me anymore. It already has me. Every pause you notice, every familiar tone, every voice that sounds like it knows you. If you're hearing this late at night, if the radio feels like it's speaking just to you, don't answer. Don't listen too long. Because once it learns you well enough, you won't hear it anymore. You'll become it.